Call, call to order City of Forest Park Council meeting number 1380, Monday, August 2nd, 2021. Let us start by standing for the pledge, please.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk, please call the roll.
Brown.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Herbie.
Here.
Holt.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Moore. Here. Sylvester.
Let the record show that all members are present and accounted for. Next item is item number 2, minutes. You received a copy of the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? See, now we go to item number 3, presentations. This must be the police since all of you guys are here. First one. Chief?
Good evening, everybody. If I could have our 3 new recruits just come up and stand in front of the city emblem there. I'll introduce them one by one. To council's far right there is going to be Mr. Cameron Shearer. Cameron is 32 years old. He grew up in Westerville, Ohio. He was a United States Marine for 9 years, served as a military police officer or criminal investigator, and served on an anti-terrorism task force while he was with the Marine Corps. He served in Japan, the Philippines, and Korea. After his military time was over, he served with the Delaware County, Ohio Sheriff's Department for 1.5 years, and we stole him from them. So we're very glad of that. He is represented here tonight by his wife, Melanie, of 10 years. He has 3 children, Madeline, Oliver, and Alexandra. And his wife, Melanie, is going to be doing his pinning. In the middle is Kirsty Ayers. She's 33. She grew up here in Cincinnati on the west side. She is also a veteran of the United States Army with a deployment in Afghanistan. After her time in the service is over, she served with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, where she served for 5 years as a corrections officer. And she is here with her 6-year-old son, Carter, and her boyfriend, Brian Barth, who is also with the Sheriff's Office. And Brian will be doing her pinning. And last but not least is Joshua Thompson. Josh is 37 years of age. He grew up in Colerain Township. He worked as a project engineer in his family's electrical business, which is a local company, Buckeye Electric, here in Forest Park. He did that for 13 years, I believe. He then decided to become a police officer, so he enrolled in the Butler Tech Police Academy, and after graduation worked as a part-time police officer for Cincinnati State and for Ross Township. He's currently enrolled in Eastern Gateway College. His son Randy Beamer will be doing his pinning, and he's represented by his father Todd, sister-in-law Allie, brother-in-law Bo, and his mother Babs. So I'm going to have the mayor do the oath of office.
State your name. I, Cameron Shearer. Solemnly swear or affirm.
Solemnly swear or affirm
That I will support.
that I will support
The Constitution.
the Constitution
Of the United States.
of the United States
And the Constitution.
and the Constitution
Of the State of Ohio.
of the State of Ohio,
The Charter.
the Charter
Of the City.
of the City
Forest Park, Ohio.
of Forest Park, Ohio,
And that I will faithfully.
that I will faithfully,
Honestly.
honestly,
And impartially.
and impartially
Discharge the duties.
discharge the duties
of Forest Park Police Officer.
of Forest Park Police Officer.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Your respective family members would step up in front of your loved one. You can go ahead and pin the badge on their chest. You can go ahead and be seated. You can be seated, thank you. We do have one more special oath of office to be given tonight, and that's going to be to our newest sergeant. So if we could have Corey Hall step forward. Corey Hall is a 20-year veteran of the police department. He has served as a field training officer. He has served as an officer in charge. He served as a bicycle officer, a detective, a defensive tactics instructor, and one of the coolest things that he's been able to do is serve on the Hamilton County Police Association SWAT team, I believe for at least the last 10 years. And he most recently has been serving as a team leader on the SWAT team, and it's my understanding that we have not had a team leader serve before from Forest Park on the SWAT team. And I'm also probably pretty certain that you're the first African-American team leader with the Hamilton County SWAT team, so we're very proud of Corey.
I state your name.
I, Corey Hall,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
the Charter
the Charter
of the City
of the City
of Forest Park,
of Forest Park,
Ohio,
Ohio,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
honestly, and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of sergeant
as a
Forest Park
sergeant
Police
in the
Department.
Forest Park Police Department.
I'm going to have Corey's daughter, Kayla, step forward to do the pinning. He is also represented by his daughter, Kiana, his son, Andre, his father, Terry, and like a daughter, Trinity. I just want council to know and the public to know, Corey participated in a highly competitive promotional exam. And the other candidates that competed with him did an outstanding job. And it was not an easy decision on who to promote. We have so many great police officers. The cream just rises to the top on all of them. But I congratulate Corey for his hard work and diligence to get here. And if he would remain standing, he does not know this, but in 2019, we had officers do some outstanding police work. And we were going to have a department meeting in 2020 and pass out some awards. We weren't able to do that, obviously. So with council's permission, we're going to go ahead and present a couple awards tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and read this particular award. We had an officer that worked for Forest Park in the 70s and 80s, and he retired in the 90s. His name was Roy Warner. Some of the older folks would probably remember Roy. He was well known for his investigative skills. So when Chief Cannon was our chief, we developed the Roy H. Warner Memorial Award, and that's awarded to an officer who conducts an outstanding investigation in the solving of a crime. So Officer Corey Hall is the 2019 recipient of the Roy H. Warner Memorial Award. And I'm going to read a real brief description of what he did. In 2018, a heinous rape was committed upon an elderly stage 4 colon cancer patient as he walked in the area of Meadowwood Apartments. Despite the collection of suspect DNA, the case went cold. Several months later, additional sexual assaults, attempted rapes, and burglaries were reported. As with the first rape, collection of DNA evidence yielded no suspects. For several months, detectives and patrol officers saturated the area on foot, bicycle, and in plain clothes day and night in an attempt to catch the now serial rapist. Despite alerting residents and following up on a multitude of tips, the case grew cold, until the very early morning hours of February 22nd, 2019. On this day, Forest Park officers responded to a Q section apartment for a burglary and an attempted rape which had just occurred. Officers responded, set up a perimeter for a canine search. Despite an exhaustive and hours-long search, a suspect could not be found. Officer Corey Hall, who had recently transferred to the road from criminal investigations, processed the crime scene. As Hall meticulously checked the crime scene, he focused upon an exterior window of the victim's bedroom. It was on the window frame he observed a fingerprint and believed it was most likely left by the suspect while he broke into the sleeping victim's bedroom. Before attempting to lift the print, Hall decided to photograph it. He successfully photographed the print and then lifted it. This attention to detail proved to be instrumental because the lifted print was unusable due to dirt and grime that was on the window frame. The photographed print was submitted to the forensic lab and then AFIS, where a suspect was identified. The suspect was later arrested and confessed to the crimes. The suspect, who had prints on file but no DNA, was additionally matched through his DNA. If it were not for Officer Hall taking the extra step of photographing the print, the suspect would have been able to continue his crime spree. It is this type of tenacity and skill in crime scene investigations that defined the Roy H. Warner Memorial Award. It is with utmost pride and gratitude that I get to present the 2019 Roy H. Warner Memorial Award to Police Officer Corey Hall on this day, not March 15, 2020, but August 2nd of 2021. Congratulations, Corey. The award is in two pieces, so yeah, we didn't want to. It's been dropped before when other people have received the award, so we didn't want to do that to him. I do have two more, if that's okay. Okay. This award, I can find it. This is actually a letter of commendation for the 2019 Chiefs Award. And I'll let you know who it is when we're done. You can go ahead and sit down, Corey. Unfortunately, you don't get them both. Enough fame for you tonight. Policing in the 21st century requires agencies to continually evolve technologically and professionally. Agencies who desire to increase the public's trust must promote best practices in every facet of their operations. Two significant improvements to department operations here at Forest Park have been pivotal in achieving this goal. These improvements were not accomplished on their own. One officer specifically, Lieutenant Adam Pape, has been instrumental in both. The first significant improvement began in 2018 when Lieutenant Pape was tasked with determining new property room processes and facilities to keep up with evidence control best practices. Lieutenant Pape immediately began brainstorming and planning for improved property room design, consulting with several other agencies and property room experts, and ensuring that that design came to fruition. A new design was only the beginning. In an effort to modernize our processes, Lieutenant Pape began the task of evaluating property room software, which would ensure accuracy, accountability, and an immediate audit of all property, drugs, currency, and firearms. After exploring various options and visiting other agencies to examine their evidence software in action, he located software which fit our needs and our budget. With the new software in place, each piece of evidence in the property room had to be removed, cataloged, and accounted before construction on the new property room could begin. This painstaking, detail-intense effort required several days of work by a team of officers overseen by Lieutenant Pape. The work involved in this endeavor was immense. Once the evidence was removed from the property room, demolition began. Lieutenant Pape and his team worked to remove drywall, storage racks, and cabinets. Nothing but the walls were left. After the new evidence storage units were installed, they began to resubmit all the displaced evidence. Every square inch of the new facility was organized according to property type. Each piece of evidence was individually cataloged and placed into its respective area. At the same time, Lieutenant Pape oversaw the implementation of the evidence software and the new evidence submission procedures. This too required hours of training and supervision. Furthermore, revamping the property room necessitated an overhaul of the crime lab. This required the crime lab to be cleaned out, cabinets removed, and various evidence collection supplies to be organized in another area of the department. Lieutenant Pape and his team participated in each phase of the overhaul. The result was a cleaner, more organized, and more friendly work lab. The second way Lieutenant Pape was instrumental in improving department operations was in the acquisition of a new records management software. In late 2018, PAMET, our previous records management software, crashed. As a result of the crash, the department lost approximately 3 months of data and corruption of much more. Although several promises were made to recover our data, the department continued to experience problems with the software. In early 2019, Lieutenant Pape began to research other records management software companies. In all, Lieutenant Pape evaluated 9 different vendors. This time-consuming process resulted in identifying a software company which fit the specific needs of our agency. But as is the case with any new technology, training was required. Each officer had to be provided with the knowledge and skill to utilize the software. Not only did Lieutenant Pape provide a significant amount of training to the officers individually, he also oversaw the entire training process. Although it's currently being used, the department has yet to realize the software's full potential. Now, that was 2 years ago. We are realizing the full potential now. Lieutenant Pape has continued to work with the Regional Crime Information Center over the last several months in an effort to maximize the software's usefulness. Lieutenant Pape's persistence in enhancing the department's professionalism and technology is second to none. His work ethic on these 2 endeavors alone speaks to his character and high regard for our core values, especially that of innovation. In every sense possible, Lieutenant Pape carried out the mission of our department in an effort to provide professional police services to the community. For these reasons, Lieutenant Pape is hereby commended and has earned the 2019 Forest Park Police Department Chiefs Award. This one doesn't come apart.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Surprise.
You want to say anything?
What's that?
You want to say anything?
Yeah, I do. Hey, don't blame me if Sundance doesn't work. But no, thanks to Bob Wright. Bob, you were awesome in this whole process. I know we had to kind of drag you along, but once you were there, you were fully on board, and I appreciate all the support you gave us. So, thanks.
I did have one other award, but it doesn't look like anybody from that unit is here. Jeff? Oh, are they all here? Come on in, Jeff. This one, this is a unit citation. This one's been around for quite a while. In 2019, our Criminal Investigations Division was staffed by Sergeant Dave DeSalvo, Detective Jeff Carnine, and Detective Joe Hoff. Detective Joe Hoff has now been reassigned to the Road Patrol. I don't know if he's here or not. But in 2019, the 3-person unit was assigned over 114 criminal cases and nearly a dozen pre-employment background investigations. The criminal cases included 1 homicide, 21 aggravated robberies, 6 felonious assault shootings, 18 burglaries, and 28 sexual assaults, 21 involving minors. The division had an impressive arrest closure rate of 48.8%. Successful investigation of complex criminal cases takes attention to detail, persistence, and proper application of investigative skills. It also entails having superb working relationships with prosecutors, local, state, and federal officers, and local businesses. All 3 investigators in the division are on a first-name basis with many of the common police prosecutors and are in constant contact with them in order to facilitate a successful prosecution. In addition to handling complex investigations, court hearings, background investigations, evidence collection, and call-outs, the division also welcomed patrol officers to spend time in the office following up their cases. This unique experience provided patrol officers with the hands-on experience of following up criminal investigations while garnering future interests in the division. The police officers listed on this departmental citation, while individuals work cohesively and seamlessly as a team in 2019. This level of professional conduct, strong work ethic, team spirit, and dedication to duty makes the Forest Park Police Department Criminal Investigation Division the choice for the 2019 Unit Citation Award. That's all I got.
Thank you. I will tell you, in case you don't know, and I don't know if any of you, meaning council members, have had an opportunity or have taken the opportunity to attend this event. But each March, the police department holds an awards program ceremony in the senior center. Obviously, we're playing catch-up now. We were not able to have that program in 2019 or 2020 because of COVID. But it is a very special occasion, and I would urge you all, it's usually on a Sunday afternoon about 6 o'clock, and usually this second week or so in March. Put that on your calendar and make time to go. Not only is it very touching, but it's also very entertaining. Just you got just a smattering of it, and he was. I must say, this is the calmest I've seen him in a while, Lieutenant Pape. I don't know why he's not doing stand-up comedy instead of being a police officer, because he's very good at it. But please put that on your calendar and attend that. Just at this time, I will ask council members if they would have any comments, starting with whoever want to be first. Councilwoman Hope, Vice Mayor Hope.
I would like to extend a congratulations to the new officers, Ayers, Shearer, and Thompson. I want you to know that you have joined the best force, not one of the best, but the best force in the country. Forest Park has an excellent police department, outstanding, and you've heard from some of the things that they've done. So I want to welcome you to Forest Park and welcome you to our force. For Sergeant Hall, congratulations on your accomplishment. Very proud of you. And congratulations to the other recipients of awards. Forest Park, we are number one. Congratulations.
Councilwoman Herbie.
I will echo what Councilwoman Holt said, and I will add that not only are they the best in the world, in the country, they're the best in the world. And their receipt of the Kalea Award attests to that. That is an international award, and it recognizes the high professionalism of this group. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you for your service, and I congratulate all those new officers and all the award winners. And Corey, you were the first person I met when I first got on council, and I still remember that.
Anyone else? Mr. Brown?
Oh, I just want to echo the sentiments of my fellow council members up here. I do want to thank you for serving this community, and please do not pull me over when you see me driving around. But no, this is, it's just a wonderful police force. And when we think of, everything that's happening in the country, Forest Park really does not come to mind, We think of community-oriented police and police that police that know you, and really have a servant's heart. So I do want to thank you for all your sacrifice, all your service, and the military people as well. Thank you for your service.
And absolutely, just like Councilor Brown said, and my fellow colleagues, you truly have landed in one of the absolute best police departments there is in the country. Not only is that qualitative data the case with as much community engagement as there is, but that's also quantitatively proven. And so author Tim Cook, he was speaking to some graduates, and he said, now, I know you're not graduates, but you're officers. And he said, officers, your values matter. They are your North Star, and work takes on new meaning when you feel you're pointed in the right direction. Otherwise, it's just a job, and life is simply too short for that. You have chosen to serve years ago, both in military and now for your community, and continue to go on that North Star, let it be your guide on each one of those beats, on each one of those streets. In your beat, make sure that you have some community partners in there. We want to make sure that we know you and build relationships with you. Thank you so much, and I'm praying for your safety and welfare every single day. And congratulations to you, Sergeant Corey Howell. Thank you so much.
Dr. Moore.
Thank you. Again, congratulations to Sergeant Corey Hall for your promotion, and to our new officers, welcome to the City of Forest Park, you and your families. This is a great place to live and work, and also thank you for your service. Hoorah for our Army, police officers. Thank you for serving our country, and welcome.
Mr. Sylvester.
Speaking on behalf of a citizen of the City of Forest Park and a council representative, I want to thank each of you for taking this honor of representing the City of Forest Park. We know that we're faced with a lot of perilous times here and throughout the nation, and there's a lot of ups and downs that are going on. But we thank each of you, young lady, gentlemen. I've been knowing Corey for quite some time, and if you see me driving around in the 1998 Ford Ranger with a little tailpipe issue, don't pull me over. I'll just show my face so you know. But we do thank you. God bless you.
First of
When you
all,
leave, you have to go to one of the Forest Park restaurants with your families, by the way.
First of all, I want to say to the families of these officers, you are part of this police force too, because they can't do what they need to do if you weren't there encouraging them, urging them on, listening to them gripe when they need to. So we thank you as well. You're a very important piece of this. We know that they can't be what they want to be, and we wouldn't be where we are without you, the families. Secondly, I want to take a moment and ask, I see two of you, maybe three, our former police chiefs who are present, if you would just stand for a moment so people can see who you are, and so they know who you are. These two gentlemen and Chief Hughes is not here with us. Just to show you how long I've been here, we were all here together. And not only them, but there are other retired officers who have contributed to this department. And not just the officers that are out there on the streets, but everybody who is a part of this. And this is for the public, if you have an opportunity or an issue that you want to call about, there's the receptionists and the clerks. They all make this thing happen together. They are truly a team. And I'm proud of that team. I have said for all of the years that I've been doing this, it's the greatest feeling in the world when I listen to other people talk about their police officers and their police department. I just sit back and smile and say, God, it must be tough being number two. Because we know where we are. We know where you are. And we're very, very thankful and grateful to you. Keep up the good work, and I will continue to support you as I always have, and I know the council now and in the future will extend that support. don't ever feel like you're out there by yourself. And for those of you who are new and don't know, it's not just the people in this room, but we have relationships with our clergy. They participate with us. There's some other communities have different names for their community groups, but when there is an issue that some people would look at as a negative issue happens in Forest Park, our chiefs know. We get on the phone and we call our clergy association. They come right then. They look at both sides of it. And I can tell you from past experience, sometimes, and most of the time, we probably would have been a lot tougher than they are. But they dissect everything. And as our police chaplain, Bishop Hilton, always says, you don't have to ever worry about anything being swept under the rug in Forest Park. We don't do that. And that's a testament to you too, because you guys get the job done, and you make it easy for us. So when I see bad things about police officers and police departments on TV or hear it in the news, again, I can feel assured it's not Forest Park. That doesn't happen in Forest Park. Thank you all. We appreciate you, and God bless you all. At this time, you can feel free to leave. We know you were going to. I know you're going to be getting out the door, so do that. That's so. Congratulations again.
Everybody else here for?
Sir.
So let's see what everybody else is here for.
Take care. Take care over there. Bill? Good job. How you doing, buddy? How's it? How's the golf course treating?
I haven't gotten it yet. It's coming by September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. At this time, we will move on, which brings us to item number 4, communications from the public. This is a time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, then state your comment or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcriptions. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. If there's anyone who would like to address the council, please come forward to the podium, sign in, let us know who you are, give us your name and address, and tell us what your issue is.
Hi, my name is Queen Jones, and I live at 11460 Oak Stand Drive. I had a roof put on my house by a reputable company. I want to make a comment about the permit. The permit falls on the contractor because they cannot do any work without a permit. A lot of us don't know the ins and outs when it comes to having work done around your house. And I'm not saying that to alleviate us from our responsibilities, but the contractor cannot do the work without a permit, and that's why it's solely on him to get the permit. The other thing is, I chose this company, they were reputable. They had been in business a long time. I trusted them. They were gonna do like $30,000 worth of work on my house. After doing the roof and doing such a shabby job, and the reason they don't get a permit is because they hire contract the work out and they don't get reputable people to do the work. So you're thinking you got the company doing the work when they got subcontractors doing it. So this company came on the 3rd, and started to put the roof on, but I never say his name correctly, but Mr. Rafid came by and saw that they were putting the roof on my house. He gave them a stop work order to stop the work, to go get the permit. They got the permit. He noticed that they weren't putting an ice shield correctly on the house. He told them to redo it, and once they got it done, they were submit pictures to him showing that the work was done correctly. That didn't take place. They continued to work. I continue to complain about what they did, and I have pictures here to show you all what they did. They destroyed my yard. They left debris all over my home till the next day. I did not come here to fight with my community. That was not my goal. My goal was to come and get the documents that I had so that I could fully understand when I went to pursue this company, I knew what these documents said. So that's why I came back to the inspector to find out what these documents meant. In doing so, the more I looked into it, the more people I talked to, the documents are not correct. I don't feel that my best interest was at heart when you stated earlier that you're supposed to look out for the residents. I don't feel that was done because they continue to do shabby work. I have paperwork saying that they were supposed to redo this and redo that, and they didn't do it. Or if they did do it, I'm not aware of it. So I asked Mr. Rafid after all this rain to come down and look at the water spots on my ceiling in my house. He didn't come. I had an appointment for him to come, but he sent 2 other gentlemen. They came down there. When they got through, I felt like I had did something wrong, the way I was addressed and talked to. So I came to another meeting. I've discussed this with other people, and it's not fair that I was treated this way from the inspector and people in this apartment. These documents that I have are inadequate. They're not up, the dates are wrong. I believe I have documents that this company doesn't have. So what do we do as a resident when that's happening? I didn't come to ask you all to fight in my defense. I just wanted to make sure I had the right documents that when I went to my attorney, I could say, this is what this means, this is what this does, and that didn't happen. I never have gotten an understanding of this paperwork. I've been told that this paperwork means one thing and it means something else. I get paperwork that's dated after the job was finished. So that's the problem that I'm having. So that's what needs to be addressed is the paperwork and how the things was handled by the inspector. Not to get you to mediate between me and the company. That's what I wanted you to do with the paperwork I would have gotten. I would have did the mediation. But after I looked at the paperwork and I can't make heads and tails out of it and it's not correct, then how can I defend myself? I was told after paying them over $8,000, the roof was only $15,000. Could you pass these down so they can see what was done to my property? If a contractor comes in, and this is how they start off, why would I want them to do my gutters, my siding, if this is what they did? That's why they didn't want to do any more work for me because I kept calling them and demanding that they do the job I'm paying for. So I feel that at this point, I have to go outside of Forest Park to get what I need from anybody. I've lived lived in this company, in this neighborhood since '81. I've never had any problems. So it's not that I want to attack the council or Mr. Rashid. All I ask is that they do their job and do it adequately.
Mr. Anderson, you will talk with the city manager. No, you don't need to go to the, you will speak with the city manager tomorrow or the next day at your, as soon as possible. And bring him up to speed on what you and what your department has done, and what else it is that you may be able to do to assist the resident.
I want to make one more statement. I did have an appointment the very following Thursday after the planning board meeting. He was supposed to be there. Mr. Rashid was supposed to be there. He didn't even show up. So I've summoned him on a couple occasions, and he has not come.
Mr. Anderson, you'll take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the public?
Hi, excuse me. My name is Allie Armstrong, and I live at 719 Cranford Drive. I'm here to share the misery that has been inflicted on me and my neighborhood due to an illegal Airbnb that has been operating since at least March. Airbnbs may sound like a good idea conceptually, but living next to one is a completely different experience I would never wish on another homeowner. As I read through my remarks, I want you to keep in mind one simple question. Do you personally want to live next to a commercial short-term rental hotel and potential party house? So when I purchased my home on Cranford Drive almost 13 years ago, I never imagined there would ever be a possibility of a de facto hotel operating a few feet from my doorstep. I chose this location in a single-family residential area with the reasonable expectation the land use would not change to allow transient lodging. Throughout the majority of years living on Cranford, I've enjoyed this area due to the consistency of neighbors, privacy, safety, and a location that promotes a healthy quality of life. However, that a dependable environment I once enjoyed was unfairly taken away when the house next to me was purchased last year and flipped into a commercial short-term rental property with no notification or authorization from the city. What this means is check in after 4 and check out after noon. And every 3 to 4 days, new strangers are moving in and moving out like clockwork. Where there used to be a home and neighbors, we now have the rotating door of a commercial enterprise operating in a single-family residential district. Now, I won't go into the details of the nightmare next door because that's on file with the Community Development Department, but I will share with you some of the key issues. Excessive and illegal parking, safety concerns due to strangers with unknown backgrounds being pushed into our well-established neighborhoods solely for the sake of profit, and more litter. Help needed. I have 2 help needed requests today. I know that Chris Anderson is actively working to get the investor to comply with the cease and desist letter, the occupancy violation, and the planning commission decision. However, I am asking for as much help from the city as possible to remove this nuisance and potential safety hazard. And my second help needed request. Going forward, we need the city to completely close the door on short-term rentals in single-family residential districts and prioritize the rights of homeowners and voters over those of short-term rental investors. No other homeowner should be forced to suffer through this experience like I have had to do for several months. Therefore, I respectfully urge you to take swift and deliberate action against short-term rentals and implement a new ordinance to prohibit them altogether in single-family residential districts. I need you to please support and protect our rights to peaceful enjoyment of our homes and property. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Armstrong. You and I get to know each other real well. I can, just to update you a little bit, you mentioned part of it. Yeah, Mr. Anderson and the Community Development Department have and are continuing to look at this issue. I know, I can tell you that in addition to what you said, they've been cited 4 times. The house has been posted as not available for occupancy. Where it's just like with anything else. Up to this point, we've done what we needed to do and supposed to do. Now it's a matter of what do we do next to make sure that they're in compliance. And that's the discussion that's going to be ongoing and taking place between Mr. Anderson, the city manager, and our law director. But as you well know, we're very well aware of it. Obviously you came to Planning Commission and we heard from the residents there as well as the other side of the issue. We do have an ordinance in place, and one of the things on my agenda for future work session discussion is to review that one and have our law director to review that particular piece of legislation as well, to close off any loopholes and to look at what we may do in terms of stiffer fines. The one thing that's absolute, that is proven to be most effective in almost any cases, you have to hit people where it hurts, and that's usually in the pocketbook. So we're looking down that road, and hopefully we can bring this to a close as quickly as we possibly can. I can tell you too that the police department is running extra patrols and taking extra notice of illegal parking over in that area. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it, and just hang in there. We're getting there. It's taking us a while, but we're getting there.
Thank you very much for your time.
Sure. Anyone else from the public?
Mine's short and sweet. My name is Viola Roseman. I live at 722 Cranford. I've been there for 24 years, so I'm a neighbor of Allie's. And I was really not aware of what was going on until she told me. The only thing I had an issue with was parking on both sides, and you know Cranford is narrow.
Yes.
But my problem is, I want to know why I didn't get a notification in the mail. She told me, she said, "Are you going to this meeting?" I didn't know what she was talking about. I called the office here, and I was told they only notify the houses on both sides and the person across the street. I live next door to the person across the street. I don't understand why we are not notified, because we're all affected by it too, We live in it's a really nice area, and so I'm just confused on why we would not be notified, and just 2 or 3 people, because the whole neighborhood is affected.
Chris, you want to answer that for her?
Let me write my names.
Thank you. So the simple answer to the question is that's the way it is written in the zoning code, which is the body of city law that we follow in administering the zoning. It does say that all adjacent property owners will be notified by mail. The general public is notified by our website, the posting of meeting notices, and we also, for public hearings, advertise those in the newspaper, but they're legal ads, and I understand that most people don't see them. The reason that we don't go farther, there's a little bit of that's the way it's always been, but I worked in a different community where in the zoning we notified everybody within 200 feet. My only point in bringing that up is that it's kind of an arbitrary thing, or a judgment call of where do you stop. had I see Mrs. Backus in the row back there. She lives behind, and wondered why she didn't get notified also, because one of her neighbors mentioned it. And I think we had the same conversation. But that's the way it's written. It could be changed. It usually hasn't generated many inquiries like that in the past. Usually people that are notified adjacent, that's been sufficient. Do understand that this was a little bit hotter of a topic.
Mr. Anderson, would you include that item on the work session for the next planning commission work session in terms of reviewing that notification issue? Okay, anybody else from the public want to address council? If you would come sign in, please.
Good evening, council. My name's Alonzo Brown. This is my wife, Maya, and we live at 11424 Lynn Cross Drive. I'm a little tired. This is the time I lay down and go and get ready for work. What prompted me here tonight, both of us here, is that over the weekend, this past weekend, my son, he's going on 4 years old, and we have a daughter also who's a teenager. And we were trying to take them somewhere in Forest Park to throw some ball, just do some outdoor activities. I did talk to someone, I can't think of her name, I talked to someone last week about the direction of what Forest Park is doing as far as children is concerned. I know we have the new school, we have, I guess the basketball court is being redone or something like that. My issue is, I didn't even know across the street was a soccer field. I thought there was just an open field that just, whatever, So I took my son over there, we kind of threw Frisbee around, and I just saw a sign that says, this was a soccer field, don't be on it, basically. And so we left, and when I did talk to the lady last week, she said that all Forest Park residents had the accessibility to the basketball court down there in Versailles apartment complex. I thought it was just for Versailles residents. And so I took them down there, and that place is atrocious. And I don't know what the city has in store for that place, but I took a video of it. I don't know if anybody knows about it up here, but you can't really play on there without risking injury. You can't go down there. There's no nets or anything anyway. I don't see how anyone can play down there anyway. The tennis court, it's like a desert, and it's really unsafe. It should be chained off. It should be closed, but the doors are
It is
open.
most of it. It should be. It should be, when I say should be, I don't mean I'm agreeing, you're right, it should be closed because it is closed, or should be closed.
Yeah, well, the doors were open, and that's why I just...
And I'll go ahead, I won't enter, I'll get into that with you.
Yeah, and that was my concern, because I just felt like, I come from a hard background. I'm not here to just talk about, my own personal life or nothing like that, but I come from the streets, and I know what it's like for young children of color to not have much to do in their neighborhoods. I come from Lincoln Heights, and I don't mean to be putting my hometown on no blast or nothing, but, imagine a community where you can just go almost anywhere in that community and find a drug dealer, find kids on the streets with nothing to do, nowhere to go, no rec center, no nothing. And as long as I've known Forest Park used to be, to me, in my opinion, the oasis, the place that people will esteem to want a place to live. And I like Forest Park. Matter of fact, I love Forest Park. But I don't think Forest Park, in my opinion, is the best place for children. I just don't. I don't think it's a good place to raise children. It may be for successful people who just looking to not raise a family necessarily or whatnot, but I just feel that there's really nothing for them to do. There's no rec center. I know the lady who I spoke with said that it costs too much, minimal manpower or whatever it may be, but Forest Park is a city. You have Woodlawn, places like that, that's a village, but yet they have community pool, they have rec center, and I know it may be funded by, you know, the Armory, you know, their dealings with the government or whatnot, I don't know, but those things are there, and it's a village. And I just feel like as long as I've known Forest Park has never had any of these things. And so I'm just here tonight to just try and figure out what is council's mission and goal for our children. Because I know some people may know and some people may not know, but the Corrections Corporation of America, which is now CoreCivic, y'all know what I'm talking about. They have contracts with the government, 97% occupancy. And if those beds are not occupied, the state of Ohio gets sued. So how are we going to, so we know how the games can go. How are these beds going to get filled? Well, when I look at areas that don't have places for kids to go, well, they're going to be on the streets and they're going to become criminals. And next thing you know, this city, it was a nice meeting tonight about the police and everything, but that's what it's going to be, a police overran community. And I'm sorry, me as a father of a young black child, I don't want to make it a race issue, but we know that, you know, things can go south real fast. And you have something to say? You want to say something?
No, I mean,
Because
I know
5
you like
minutes is
taking
up.
all your time, but I mean, I don't know if y'all have kids or grandkids, but like he said, when I moved here, I moved in 5 years ago? Like, we would leave our garage door open, like the doors unlocked. Now, every other night, if not every night, we get a notification from Ring that somebody is shooting, somebody breaking in cars. Sorry, y'all, it's prayer time. It's 9 o'clock. It's just like stuff going on. And we all know if you don't give these kids anything to do or anything to look forward to, we're going to have a problem. And you guys were talking about, like he just said, like the, I guess like the police interaction with the community. Never have I heard of an outreach program. Like, as far as the police, just touching bases with the community. I've never had any interaction with them. I guess that's a good thing. But I've never heard of anything positive going on in this community as far as that is concerned. And then two, like, once again, there's nothing to do. These kids are over here at Kroger's, like hanging out, and it's a smoke shop next door.
Yes.
Like, what kind of sense did that make? Like, that's not very welcoming. Like, it makes it look real generic and run down here.
It's an eyesore.
I mean, like, I know gentrification is real. We all know what's going on with the city. They building it up and they push them out to the suburbs. We all know this. But you still need to make this a welcoming place to an extent. Make this livable. The people who can't afford to, we've even thought about, like, we getting up out of here, like, we're going to either go to Fairfield or we're going to Liberty Township. We pay too much money in taxes to see no results. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Y'all got your new police. I mean, whatever. We all know we need that. But what else can you provide besides a senior center and a tennis court and run-down basketball courts? This one hasn't had the nets up like for the whole summer. I understand why, because y'all are revamping the high school over here. But that's no excuse. It's nothing for these kids to do. It's nothing for me to do.
Maybe we're ignorant maybe there is some things for the kids to do. I don't know, but just me leaving out of my front door with my children, I don't know where to go in Forest Park. I don't know where to go. If I just want to shoot some ball or, like I said, there's no rec center. There's nothing to have them be a member of, to just occupy their time. Because kids just don't want to sit around and just read a book. And I don't want my son sitting around playing video games.
Then in addition to that, not to cut you off, baby, but Forest Park revenue brought in 2019 over $10 million. Where did it go? Where did it go? We have nothing to show for what we are paying for. And it's ridiculous.
Okay.
No, but I'm just saying, like I pulled it up earlier. I my door, like, oh, well, they done this, oh, they done that. You ain't done nothing.
Well, let me answer you this way, and I think it's the best way I can answer you. I would like to sit down with the two of you and explain to you and answer all those questions that you just asked, because it's not a yeah, let's do this, yeah, let's do that. I want to explain to you why we're where we are and what is the reasons for those things, in addition to, just to give you one example, like you mentioned the tennis courts over at the apartments. You're right. That place is usually by choice closed, and the reason it's closed by choice is because we get an inordinate number of calls about drug use over there, needles on the basketball court, that kind of thing, and that's dangerous for kids. So sometimes you have to make choices. Do you leave it open and let these kind of things happen, or do you just shut it down? That's just one example, but what I want you to do is you put your name and address there. I will contact you if you want to put an email or phone number there, and I will set up a meeting with you personally, and I will discuss all of those issues with you that you brought up.
I appreciate you.
You can either that, or you can, I can call you and do it. All you need to do is when I call you, just give me the time and the place you want to get together, and we'll sit down and do it. Okay?
I like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I just gotta add that. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Alonzo.
Brown? I respectfully, I cannot sit by as residents continuously come to us about the same issue of not having a rec center, not having community events, not having things to do. We can talk, at length about why we don't have these things or the history or the circumstances that led us to be in this condition, but we have to be the counsel of what is possible. We have to. These people are here today talking about they don't think this is a community to raise their kids, and that hurts my heart. I'm not trying to get too emotional about this, but I want to raise my son here. This is the type of community that a lot of us as black people did not have. We only had the concrete jungle. This is a suburban community with a lot of green. My life was completely different before I came here. And then when I came here, just the fact that I had a front yard and a backyard completely altered the trajectory of my life. And I know that we have budgets, but we have to imagine new futures. This rec center question continuously comes up, and it's frustrating to know that we've done the studies, 10 years ago, but we have to do it again now. These kids do need something to do, and we are investing in our police, but that also means investing in the quality of life for residents. Yes. That means investing in amenities that residents want to move here to patronize, to use. I'm sorry, Mr. City Manager, or I'm not trying to give you any more work because I know you work hard, but there's money out there. I've seen the city of Cincinnati, build stadiums, and the stadiums going to the state for $16 million in funding, and only 30 come to the county. That's half the battle right there. We have to start pursuing more money from different sources. We have to be very creative and very intentional about the amenities we want to come here, because that's what people are coming for. They're going to come here to live, but not just, to just sit around in a house or go to basketball courts with no hoops and no nets and needles on the ground. That cannot abide anymore. We have to figure out something different.
If I can just say one last thing. Our daughter is a member of Woodlawn Rec Center. I shouldn't have to take her all the way down to Woodlawn and bring her back. I have to go back and get her when she can just walk over here.
Or Glendale.
Yeah.
Or
all these neighboring communities, Fairfield, Sharonville, Evendale, Glendale, Springdale. If you go outside of Forest Park, all of these areas have these things. And this is, and like you said, these are the things that make people want to move here, because there's things for them. I think about my kids, I'm a father who love my kids. I want my kids to have the best. I didn't grow up with that. I grew up in two-bedroom apartment, mother and father struggling, you know, trying to make ends meet. I didn't have it all. They didn't have it all. So I'm trying to make sure that my son can have a little bit more than what I had, you know, and if I have to bring him up somewhere that have these things, then that's where I want to be. So, like I said, I shouldn't have to go out my front door and figure out where I want to take my son that's going to be outside of our outside of our community. I feel like Forest Park, it may not be an establishment that a city that has General Electric paying, you know, revenue or whatever, but I just feel like in property taxes, sales taxes, the things that Forest Park do collect, there's got to be some money somewhere that can fund some things. It don't have to be a pool plus the rec center, but why not just the pool or the rec center, or you know, or something where these kids can be a member of. I'll pay extra taxes if it's, you know.
The taxes just went up.
You know, if it's, I pay more if it's gonna give my kids somewhere to go.
And that's my point. And that's my point. If we are paying these taxes for these things, we do need to have something to show for it. And I'm not just trying to rag on the city either, because like I know the department heads, they all work, you know, very, very hard. Like, and the city actually graciously are this weekend actually having a bike and walk event just to create that feeling of community, you know, cohesion, and letting people come out and have family oriented events. So, you know, bring your four-year-old son, because it's not a race. We're gonna be at Central Park. But like, I'm echoing the same thing. We need change, because I'm tired of having conversations with residents saying the city is doing this and that and doing all these good things, and everybody says the same thing. Well, we ain't got no rec center, or we don't have the businesses that we want, and I need to go somewhere else, and I might move because I'm paying the taxes, and they have the thing. These cities are these villages are half our size with half our budget, and then twice the imagination. We have to be better. We have to do better.
I appreciate y'all taking my time.
Intentional things on our calendar so that we are actually having some community conversations, and we are strategic about talking about this and whether or not we have to
It's not,
give them another.
it's not can we make them. It's can, what it is, quite frankly, you have that option. You have that option every time we have a work session. You know, I understand what you're saying, and when I'm saying I'm going to meet with you and discuss all these things, I have no intention of telling you why we don't.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm going to be telling you is how to go about doing it. And so that gets lost on people a lot of times. For an example, just real quickly, the rec center or this, you know, recreation center. That is an issue that is citizen-driven. Everywhere that they've got one, it's citizen-driven. It doesn't come from here.
Right.
It comes from the
That was
citizens.
explained to me, yeah.
Okay? But that's what, you know, those are the kinds of things that I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, you know, there is money out there. There are grants out there. But what I'm going to tell you is which ones would apply, which ones don't apply, how you go about getting them, and not only, see, getting the grant is fine. But when you get the grant, you also have to accept the strings that come with it. You know, all of these things have to fit together. It's, you know, I can guarantee you, there's nobody sitting up here who's satisfied that we don't have those things. But I can also tell you, this is an anomaly. Here tonight, you see, I think he's over there somewhere. You see people here tonight. We meet every first and third Monday. Generally speaking, in almost any of those meetings, we have one citizen who comes to the meetings. One. We have any number of committees, citizens committees.
That's a good thing, though, man.
Well, it's only a good thing if the citizens participate.
I
True.
think a lot of people don't know exactly when to be here.
Yeah, because I
As
didn't
far as
either.
like you said, like with the walk and bike thing, how are we gonna find
Yeah,
out?
I
Because
didn't
I'm not
either.
checking the Forest Park website like that. You
Right.
know,
But
not
we
being
will.
funny, but mailers, door to door, you know, balloons, something. Like you have to let people know. Like you just can't have these events and assume we know where to get
People
this
won't come,
information
right,
from because
right.
we don't.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just me door knocking, handing out flyers. That's kind of
we
it.
would like to come.
I mean, we'll help. Like when my
Okay.
husband had called, what did you speak? He spoke to someone before, and they gave him the name of like some activities commissioner or something. We still waiting for that phone to ring, or we still waiting for that email.
Yeah, but like I say, I will tell you, and when I meet with you, I will tell you what we need to do, how you go about doing it to get it done. Not, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you that, that this is the reason we don't have it, but the reason we don't have it is why we aren't getting it done now. Case in point, you talked about taxes. Taxes in Forest Park are not what people think they are. See, people have the wrong impression of the tax system. We are a collector. We collect the tax. We don't get to keep it.
Well, I mean, I know that, but I'm just saying.
We only get, it's maybe up to like 7 cents out of every dollar. The rest of it we don't get. Now, that's not an excuse, that's just a fact. 93% of the money that you pay in taxes, property taxes especially, does not stay here. And when I'm saying here, I mean the city. The largest chunk of that money goes to the school district. The school district and the city are separate. We're not the same thing. We have no control over that. We have no control over the percentage of that money or the amount of that money that goes to the zoo. See, all of those things, if you look at your tax bill, on the back of it, you get a different view of what the city has in terms of income. Yeah, I mean, I've been here forever and ever and ever. I don't like paying it either, but I don't have, that's not a choice that I get to make. It's not a choice the city gets to make. We are bound by those. And that's, that hamstrings us more than anything else. And like Commissioner Brown said, like Councilman Brown said, we have to look at other sources. But it's not just as simple as saying, okay, let's get a grant and do it. The closest we've come, since you mentioned it, to having a community center was the one that they built in Woodlawn. Matter of fact, we had first shot at it. But at that time, the people who were there at that time opted not to do it. Didn't need it. At least that's what they thought back then. But that, and as you said, that was not built by Woodlawn. It was built by the United States Army.
That's what I told her.
Yeah. So, I do want to sit down with you and go through all those things so I can maybe give you a clearer understanding of not only how things are, but how things can be. But I will tell you, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I will tell you, it's going to be a tough road because you got to go out and get like-minded citizens, people who think like you think, and say, get on board, and let's start this initiative, and let's do that. And, you said how long you've been here, but that's going to be your toughest hurdle, is finding enough people who are going to be willing to say, okay, by God, we're going to do this, and doing it.
Yeah, I've been here 10 years, and I met my wife 5 years ago, but I've been here 10 years, and I've seen minimal things as far as concerning kids. Now, the school is something very new, and that's a good thing. I mean, they need education. They need a proper building to be in, more modern things to come to. But after-school programs, after-school activities, I don't even know if Forest Park have a football team. I don't know. They probably do. I don't know. But I see the soccer field. I don't know if my son want to kick a ball around, but, but I'm willing to put him in anything if Forest Park got that to offer. Because, like I said, this weekend, I walked out the door. I didn't know where to take him. I just took him over there to the soccer field. Like I said, I didn't know that we wasn't allowed to be on that field. It was just an open field.
It's an open field, and you're allowed to be on there unless there are league games or unless
There's a sign that says different.
Yeah.
There's a sign that says different.
And that's not the only soccer field here. There are others. But like I said, leave your information there, and I will, I will promise you that I will be back in touch with you within the next 24
I
to 48
appreciate it.
hours.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to make a comment. One,
Yes.
thank you for coming to council and voicing your concerns. We encourage citizens to come to council. That's how things happen. And also, we are getting a new library, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art library over by the old senior center. And so we want to get the word out to the residents that we are trying to bring things to our community for our youth. And it's going to be state-of-the-art, one of the second largest libraries in Hamilton County. And so we hear you. And so thank you for coming to council.
Anyone else from the public? One last person.
Good evening. Actually, I was not even intending on speaking today, but after I listened to two people, it was just miraculous because I had a discussion about this. So the first thing, since it's the newest, and I'm older, so I tend to remember things that were last said to me. I just wanted to say that I have had discussions about, I'm sorry, my name is Pat Backus, and I live on Chelmsford. I had a discussion about the importance and the need to kind of bridge between the council and the residents. And this is a discussion I just had within the last 10 days. I've done, in the last 40 years in my career, I did a significant amount of community work. So I basically looked at how to build relationships in communities, how to conduct assessments, and then bring people together. So I know that there are reasons why people do and do not attend activities. Some of them, so it goes down to social behaviors, and some of them, it's not that they're just apathetic. For some they have become that way. For others, there are a lot of roadblocks as to why they can or cannot do things. So one of the things I had just been holding a discussion about was the importance of building or developing a community coalition of residents where there would be representation of every diversity, so the older, the younger, ethnic, racial, religious, single parents, retirees, et cetera, with at least 2 candidates from each of the sections or areas. Not as an adversarial thing, but in essence to work in partnership with the council, and with the other administrative, so that the thing like the information does get out. I know how difficult it is to disseminate information. I had to come up with it with a zero budget. Okay, so if anybody can do it, I can help you with that one. But I think that's important, and I think that would also build a relationship. It would also make sure that the information is disseminated out, because those the 2 representatives from each section could then also make sure that they are communicating with their area. So actually, I wasn't even going to speak on it tonight, but so I was going to propose that to the council about building that kind of a coalition. And that would also bring together, and it would be where that coalition could have a greater understanding, like our mayor was saying, of what is going on, and then can disseminate that information back out as well. They may also be more apt to reach the other residents than the council are coming here to the meetings at 8 p.m. I know, because when school starts, I knew there were certain things I didn't do during the week. There were certain things I didn't do on the weekend. There were certain things I didn't do after a certain hour. People are just not going to do it. So that was actually one of the things that I was coming up with. I don't have a small child. I have a granddaughter, but I don't have a small child to be concerned about that. So that would not have even been on my radar, but obviously it is on theirs. And with that coalition, I think we could kind of build that relationship and then also the partnership with the city council. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing, you all know that I ditto about those short-term rentals. But the other question I wanted to raise, I've had a growing concern about the number of investors who are trying to come into Forest Park to purchase rental property. There have been 2 articles from reputable sites, and trust me, if anybody knows to research the citations and the credibility, I know how to do that. But there has been a move for investors and for pension plans to purchase rental property because they want to increase their cash flow on a monthly basis. But they're not looking at how that's going to impact communities. And so, and I was thinking about the fact, I said, wait a minute, the American dream was that everybody could own a home. Doesn't mean that everybody will, but everybody has the ability to own a home. So my question to the council is, who's staying up on the stats on the percentage of property that's converting from ownership into rental? And then is there a proposal or is there a plan for a cap on the percentage of rental property? And if not, what research have you used to actually determine that that's not needed? If it is already in place, who's monitoring it in real time? And what will happen if that cap is reached?
The last part of your question I will answer this way, and Mr. Anderson can provide you with the raw data because he does that. But we've been aware since 2008, probably, or before, that companies, everybody wants to make money. Companies are buying up properties, not just in Forest Park, but everywhere.
Correct.
Because it's profitable. You have people who, they call themselves, they're flippers. They flip houses. You have other people who buy properties solely for the purpose of slapping some paint on them, meeting the minimums, then renting them out. Then that led to not only renting them out to, quote, families, but as she alluded to, I'm going to make a business out of this. Unfortunately, there are laws that says if I buy a house, as long as I buy that house and I don't break any laws in buying it, I don't know, and it's something that I think Chris and John would know. I don't know that that this council can pass an ordinance that says you can't buy a house and rent it out. I know that there have been times when people wanted to build apartment complexes, and way back when, the Planning Commission didn't approve that for various reasons. But you can only go so far in doing that. Then you run into the other part of that is people build things for one purpose, then down the road they realize that they aren't making the amount of money they thought they were going to make on it, so they start using it for another. Case in point being, you build a senior facility, senior citizen housing, apartments. You aren't making enough money on the senior citizens, so you want it to become just a regular apartment building. So that's what it becomes. But along with that comes all of the problems that goes with it. And again, I think one of the things we have to always consider is there are certain things that the city or any city can do where private property is concerned. Not just residential property, but business property. Just quickly, I'll give you a quick example and then we'll move on. We are constantly having people that ask us, what are you doing about Forest Fair Mall? Why don't you make them do A, B, C, D? We don't own that. That man owns it, and he's chosen to do something with it for years. And there's nothing we can do about that. And the same thing happens in a lot of these cases to a lesser degree. But if you sign in, Mr. Anderson will, if you want to contact his office, he can provide you with all of the additional information on that. Okay?
And the part about the coalition, about a potential coalition?
Again, that would be something that would have to be citizen-driven. Of course, if you come to council and say, we have this group of citizens, we want to do this, will you assign a liaison to this? You ask the city manager, he will either assign a staff person probably to do it, and then that staff person would report back to the city manager who will report to council. Okay?
All right.
Thank you. All right. John, did you have anything? Okay. Now, again, as I said before the police left, we realize that you've been here. We're going to be moving into our business part of the meeting. You're free to stay, or if you need, you're free to leave, whichever the case may be for you. And I will, as I said, I will make sure that I get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay? Thanks, Chris. Okay, we will now move to item number 5, reports of standing committees, and I hope nobody don't have them. Community Development Committee, Councilwoman Moore.
I do not have a report at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Keep in mind, people, that the next work session is not until after we come back from the break on 9/13. So I don't expect, I don't have any listed items on the agenda. And I would suggest to you that if you come up with something between now and then, you either contact Mr. Jones or myself to place something on the agenda. I can tell you that probably at that meeting on the 13th, we're going to continue to look at the Code of Council. Okay, next report will be Human Resources, Councilwoman Holt.
I don't excuse me. I don't have a human resource report, but I would like to make a public service announcement. I would like to urge everybody to please go get vaccinated. Get your vaccination. According to the CDC, the benefit outweighs any risk of getting this. And if you don't remember anything, remember this: the life you save may be your own. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Next report, Mr. Brown, Law.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have any reports at this time, but I do want to echo those same sentiments because, once again, you see we are wearing masks indoors. I would encourage people to get vaccinated as well. And I have no items to add to the agenda.
Public Improvement and Facilities, Mr. Sylvester. Public Safety, Councilwoman Clark.
I just want to send my condolences for the passing of John Pennycuff. He was an ardent champion for academics and education and long-standing member of this community, as well as the Winton Woods School District, long-term member 6 times. And so just my heart goes out to his family for his sudden passing. The grand opening for the Winton Woods South Campus will be August 10th at 3 p.m. I encourage you to go check out what your dollars have been building. And the only thing I have to add for work session would be contractors' fees and penalties to unpack that some.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Clark? Next report is Intergovernmental Relations and Communication. This is my committee. I have no report. We then go to Ways and Means, Councilwoman Herbie. Sorry about that.
I have no report, but as Mr. Brim indicated, we will probably be having a discussion about the Megan expansion, construction company expansion.
Thank you. We'll now go to item number 6, the mayor's report. Just a reminder that after this meeting is over tonight, council will be on recess. We will be returning on September 13th in a work session. And I would echo what was said about the vaccine and vaccination. It's urgent. It's an urgent thing that needs to be done. The numbers are beginning to skyrocket. And the one thing that I did hear today is there's an anticipation that this number is going to grow by leaps and bounds, beginning with the first of this month through the middle of September, because that is the time when schools will be going back into session. And unfortunately, a very small number of people who were in that children that could have gotten the vaccine did not. So look out for everybody. Just do it. And wear your mask. It's not going to hurt you. Over there in my report, answer any questions if there are any. And if There are none, we will go to item number 6, city manager's report.
I'll try and keep it nice and sweet. I want to remind everybody that this weekend, it kind of came up earlier in the discussion, but this weekend on the 7th, there will be a 5K bike ride, walk, run, whatever you want to do. Please show up. 10 o'clock starts. There will be a band there after the running of the race. And it really isn't a race. Just show up and participate. Of course, we might have some champions in there, some trophies, because it is the Olympics are on. But definitely, please show up, just walk if you need to, and just enjoy the day. There'll be food trucks there. There'll also be a band, and we invite everyone out. It is a family-friendly event, and there's more to it than that, but there'll be all kinds of things going on there. So please show up, even if you don't participate in the run, walk, bicycle. There will be things for the community information as well. The 513 bus will be there, talk about different things in ways that the county can help you find any kind of thing that you may need if you're, as a result of the pandemic. If it's, whether it's rental assistance or whatever programs they have, they can point you in the right direction. So show up there for information and the band and have a good weekend. Other than that, Mayor, I'll just for any questions.
Any questions for the city manager? None. Next item is item number 8, other reports. First one, Law Director, Mr. Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope everybody gets a vaccination because I hate these masks. They make me cough constantly. Just a couple of things. I submitted a letter to our accountants as part of the annual audit regarding legal issues in the city. And also, I provided some information to Mr. Nacuzzi regarding the work permit violations. Other than that, I have nothing else to report unless there be any questions.
Question for Law Director. Hearing none. Next reports, Clerk of Council, Ms. Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report that ordinance numbers 11-2021 and 12-2021 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
Questions for Clerk of Council? Hearing none. Go to item number 9, new business. There's a motion. Councilwoman Irvin.
I would move to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full on 2 separate days and read by title only ordinance number 13-2021, 15-2021, and 16-2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules requiring a reading in full on 2 separate occasions and read by title only ordinances 13, 15, and 16, 2021. Is there any discussion?
Just that they were posted as required.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk call the roll on the motion to suspend?
Brown,
Yes.
Clark. Yes. Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Sylvester.
Motion to suspend passes 7-0. First item is item A, ordinance number 13-2021. Would the clerk please read that ordinance by title only?
Ordinance number 13-2021, an ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Forest Park and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion, Mr. Brown?
Sorry, I lost my place. Yes, I would move to adopt this ordinance.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 13-2021. Is there any discussion?
Yes, it's necessary for us to update our city codes from time to time. So this is especially true where it refers to or relies on state law. So the proposed update consists of about 73 pages and is available from the Clerk of Council upon request. Additionally, the updated codified ordinances are available through the City of Forest Park website at www.forestpark.org. The 2021 supplement contains ordinances passed by council amending the codes from ordinance numbers 20-2019 through 29-2020, as well as major changes in state law dealing with the traffic code, general regulations, and general offenses. Normally, council passes these updates as a matter of emergency in order that our city codes will be updated as soon as possible, and our staff has recommended council approve this ordinance.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on ordinance number 13-2021?
Clark?
Yes.
Herbie?
Yes.
Holt?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Sylvester? Brown?
Yes.
Ordinance 13-2021 passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda is item B, ordinance number 14-2021. This ordinance must be read in full.
Ordinance number 14-2021, an ordinance amending Chapter 51 Stormwater Management Code as identified within the attached Exhibit A and made a part hereof and declaring an emergency. Whereas the City of Forest Park has previously established a stormwater utility licensed and permitted by the State of Ohio EPA for the benefit of the residents and businesses located within the City of Forest Park, and whereas the City of Forest Park has established a stormwater management code contained in Chapter 51 of the Forest Park Code of Ordinances, and whereas the Ohio EPA requires changes to the existing local code, including certain definitions and water quality requirements as part of the issuance of the new 5-year general permit that is required by Forest Park and other municipalities in the state of Ohio in order to operate their stormwater utilities. And whereas the city staff, along with the Stormwater Advisory Board and consultants specializing in stormwater regulations, have reviewed and recommended changes to update the current stormwater management code and ordinance to comply with the Ohio EPA's new 5-year permit requirements. And whereas for the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare of Forest Park, it is necessary to implement these changes immediately in order to fully comply with the requirements of the Ohio EPA's new 5-year permit requirements. This ordinance is declared an emergency pursuant to Forest Park Code of Ordinance, Section 13.96. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, that Chapter 51 Stormwater Management Code is hereby amended to read as per Exhibit A. Section 2. This ordinance is declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare of Forest Park. And for the further reason, it is necessary to implement these changes immediately in order to fully comply with the requirements of the Ohio EPA's new 5-year permit requirements. This ordinance is declared an emergency and shall be in full force and effect immediately upon passage.
Is there a motion, Mr. Sylvester?
Yes, I move that we adopt ordinance number 14-2021.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 14-2021. Is there any discussion, Mr. Sylvester?
We've received the full reading, plain detail of this ordinance, so
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on ordinance number 14-2021?
Herbie?
Yes.
Holt?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Sylvester? Brown?
Yes.
Clark?
Ordinance number 14-2021 passes 7-0. Next item is item C, ordinance number 15-2021. Would the clerk please read this ordinance by title only?
Ordinance number 15-2021, enacting revisions to Section 09 Building Permit Inspection and Plan Review Fees with minor coordinating revisions to Section 3 of Chapter 156, Comprehensive Fee Schedule of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Forest Park to update building department fees.
Is there a motion? Councilwoman Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to adopt ordinance 15-2021.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 15-2021. Is there any discussion?
Yes, just as mentioned by staff, recommended approval of this ordinance to adopt the changes to the building permit schedule. I urge adoption of this ordinance.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on ordinance 15-2021?
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes?
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester, Brown,
Yes.
Clark, Herbie.
Yes.
Ordinance 15-2021 passes 7-0. Next item is item D, ordinance number 16-2021. Clerk, please read this ordinance by title only.
Ordinance number 16-2021, amending annual appropriation ordinance 09-2021.
Is there a motion, Councilwoman Herbie?
I move adoption of ordinance number 16-2021.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 16-2021. Is there a discussion?
This is the fourth amendment to our 2021 appropriations. And the major impacts are in human resources. Some additional costs were incurred concerning the filing of some open positions. We've had a number of them this year. Also transfers out of the general fund to cover additions to the street program to be paid from the capital improvement fund. And also the capital improvement fund, which the street program would be expanded to cover additional streets. And also, there is a small fee for the cost of installing the electric charging stations. And I would urge adoption of this ordinance.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on ordinance number 16-2021?
Johnson,
Yes?
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester, Brown,
Yes.
Clark, Herbie,
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Ordinance 16-2021 passes 7-0. Next item is a motion. Yes?
I would move to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full and read resolution number 17-2021 by title only.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules requiring the reading in full and read resolution 17-2021 by title only. Is there any discussion?
Just posted as required.
Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to suspend.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester, Brown,
Yes.
Clark, Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Motion to suspend passes 7-0. Next item is item E, resolution number 17-2021. Would the clerk please read this resolution by title only?
Resolution number 17-2021, accepting the bid of Rack and Baller Excavating for the 2021 street program.
Is there a motion, Mr. Sylvester?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 17-2021. Is there any discussion?
Well, in this discussion of the street repair program, we had 4 bids proposal we received and read on July 20th, 2021. Program. For bids, all the bids were received and complete proper order, except for J.K. Bueller. Their submission did not include the purchase of the bid packet as required from CT Construction, and it was not included in the award decision. It did not affect the apparent low bid result. Following a review of bids by staff and city manager staff is recommending that the project be rewarded to Rack and Baller Excavating, who was able to perform the associated work for the city satisfaction.
Any further discussion?
I think I just have a question of clarification. I think I'm just missing it. Their bid was at $378,000. The the cost for our street program expanded to, is that 420,000? Does that mean that that the 378 and the total project cost could go up to 420,000 as we have it, or?
There's normally a 10% contingency added to the bid, just in case there's overruns.
Oh, okay.
And, but the bidding is on a unit price basis. So, if we think it should take 2 inches of asphalt and it took 3, then we still have to pay the same price, but we just have to buy more of it. So we put a 10% contingency in there just in case.
Thank you.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Herbie, Holt,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Resolution 17-2021 passes 7-0. Next item is item F, a motion, Mr. Brown.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to direct the clerk of council to notify the Ohio Department of Liquor Control that the city of Forest Park does not request a hearing regarding a new liquor license request to Cracker Barrel Old Country Store Incorporated, doing business as Cracker Barrel Store, 285 at 1193 Chase Plaza in Forest Park, Ohio, 45240.
Moved and second that we direct the clerk that we do not request a hearing on the requested liquor license. Is there any discussion, Mr. Brown?
Yes, so we received a new liquor license request from Cracker Barrel, located at 11993 Chase Plaza Drive in Forest Park. So the request is for a D5 license, which is for spirituous liquor for on-premises consumption only, which is beer, wine, and mixed beverages for on-premises or off-premises in original sealed containers until 2:30 p.m. So the police department has completed a background check of the applicant and found no criminal history of warrants, and therefore feels that there is no reason for the city to lodge an objection to this new liquor license request. And I would urge adoption of this motion so that our residents who frequent Cracker Barrel can get their drink on. No.
In a rocking chair.
Yeah, I think it's probably.
Because that means that's what I thought.
But does Cracker Barrel stay open till 2:30 a.m.?
No, but they have it until that time, in case they decide to stay open.
Yeah, it's gonna make those checkers games a lot more interesting.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there any other business to come before the body? Any other business to come before the body? Hearing none, everybody would know that we are on recess from now until we reconvene in work session on September 13. However, as always, if there is a need for a call meeting, the city manager and the clerk will so notify us. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Get vaccinated and wear that mask.
Right.